The room was heavy with silence, save for the faint hum of the overhead lights. 4 men in suits stood in the shadows, their faces tense but unreadable. The table in the centre of the interrogation room was empty, save for a single folder stamped with "Classified" in bold red letters, and then she stepped into the light. She wasn't human, or at least not entirely. Her proportions were wrong. Elongated, sinewy arms stretched impossibly far, the bone structure almost insect-like yet eerily elegant. Her face, illuminated by the sterile fluorescent glow, was humanoid but with an otherworldly symmetry that made it impossible to look away. For decades, the story of ebe1, the extraterrestrial biological entity allegedly recovered from the infamous Roswell crash, had been relegated to conspiracy theories and whispers on internet forums. Officially, ebe1 had died in the late 1950s after extensive government experimentation. Unofficially, she had survived. Now here she was, standing in the flesh, or whatever her version of flesh was. One of the men in suits cleared his throat. "You've been in hiding for a long time," he said, his voice wavering slightly. The being tilted her head, her piercing gaze shifting to each man in turn. "I was not hiding," she said, her voice soft but resonating with an unsettling cadence. "I was waiting." The men exchanged uneasy glances. "Waiting for what?" Her elongated fingers tapped the table rhythmically, almost hypnotically. "For the world to catch up," she replied. "You were not ready then. Perhaps you still are not." The air in the room grew thick, oppressive. One of the men stepped forward, his voice hard and demanding. "What do you want? Why now?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she raised one of her spindly arms and pointed toward the folder. One of the men reluctantly slid it toward her. With deliberate precision, she opened it, revealing grainy photos of unidentified craft, strange hieroglyphic symbols, and reports stamped with blacked-out sections. "Your kind has always been curious," she said, "but curiosity without understanding leads to destruction." The words hung in the air like a warning. "Are you saying you're here to protect us?" one of the men asked skeptically. She smiled, a faint, almost imperceptible curve of her lips. "Protect you? No, that is not my purpose. I am here to prepare you." "For what?" She leaned in closer, her elongated arms folding neatly on the table. "For the others?" A chill ran through the room as the lights flickered. The men stared at her, their expressions a mixture of fear and disbelief. "You call me ebe1, she continued, "but I am only one of many. And the others, they will not be as patient as I have been." The men stood frozen as the implications of her words sank in. The stories of Roswell, Area 51 and secret government experiments, they weren't just the stuff of myth. They were a prelude. She rose to her full height, her imposing silhouette casting a shadow over the room. "Your time is running out. Prepare or perish." And just like that, the lights went out. When they flickered back on, the room was empty. She was gone. But the folder on the table was open, and the last page had been marked with a single chilling message. "They are already here."